Welcome to the AA Podcast, our little corner of the web where we are not afraid to discuss tough questions like,
when did nutrition, health, movement, and stress management become alternative medicine?
Where we embrace challenges in all aspects of life to become healthier and stronger versions of ourselves.
And where food and movement are the best kinds of medicine, and cooking meals at home is a revolutionary act. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the AA Podcast. This is Ashley Olson.
And I'm Andrea Crane.
We're coming to you once again with another episode, and on things that hopefully we feel like will benefit you in the long run, which is our hope with every episode. But with that, if you didn't check out our last episodes, I did a little call to action for our listeners. And I'm going to start off with this because hopefully it piques your interest and maybe you'll write a little note to yourself as a reminder. But we are coming up on our 1-year anniversary, Andrea.
Unbelievable.
It's kind of crazy
that our attention span has lasted this long. That's what I'm really shocked about.
Well, yes, and like we proved to ourselves we can stick to something.
Yeah, right.
And we do really hope that you guys are enjoying these episodes. Most of the time, we enjoy putting them together. Actually, we really enjoy recording them once we.
That's the fun
And
part.
when I say we, it's a what's the slogan or saying? Like it's a global we.
The
it's
royal
really,
we.
And yes, the royal we is a lot of Andrea's research. So please give her lots of kudos on the research that she does because it is extensive.
Ashley deals with the electrons, which I cannot do. So I'm real grateful for that.
But yeah. But if you have found our episodes one entertaining, because we hope that they are entertaining, but one maybe entertaining, and then also if you found them to be encouraging in maybe changing some aspects of your life, if you've listened to our episodes, you know we're not people who encourage a 0 to 100 change in your lifestyle. But if we have encouraged you to maybe make a small step towards a better lifestyle, we would love to hear from you. One, it encourages us, but we also want to know that the episodes that we are recording are something that are helping you along your health and wellness journey. So shoot us an email or send us a little note on the Instagrams, but we would love to hear from you. So with all that, we will once again start off with our weekly Bible verse, and mine is coming from 1 John 3:1, and it says, "Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed on us, that we should be called children of God. Therefore the world does not know us, because it did not know him."
That's good. Okay, well, I, like usual, I'm going back to the Old Testament. Jonah 2:1-2. Then Jonah prayed to the Lord from God, from the belly of the fish, saying, I called out to the Lord out of my distress, and he answered me. From deep in the realm of the dead, I called for help, and you listened to my cry. Very psalmish.
What a beautiful promise.
It
is so good. So at the church that we attend, they're doing this new series called Made for More, and this weekend was pretty cool because they literally brought in horses to the auditorium, and they did basically a horse whisperer. So if you don't know what a horse whisperer is, look it up. It's a beautiful way of earning a horse's trust in trusting you to be a leader and a guide and companion. And I loved how he said it. It was there becomes such a bond between the human and the horse that the horse and the human together, but mainly the horse, is so engulfed in a love and respect for the leader that they just can't get enough. And so those
Oh,
verses kind of reminded me of what we're
yeah,
going through. So,
that's cool.
um, yeah, anyway.
I
Well,
love it.
Andrea, we are going to dive into the world of sunscreen
Oh, boy, is this a
and
can of worms,
what,
Ashley.
yes, so many people have so many power or
There
strong opinions
yes,
on sunscreen and
as do I. Yeah.
yes, so we are
Mhm.
going to dive into this and hopefully shed some sunlight, if you will, on what in the world is going on with sunscreen. So,
Yeah.
Andrea, what is
Yes,
wrong
Ashley.
with sunscreen?
Oh my gosh. So, I'm trying honestly, like, you asked me this question, and I'm sitting here trying to figure out what if there's anything that's right with sunscreen. And I'm coming up empty. So,
Which
let's talk
which if you're listening and you're like, "Hold up, hold up." Everybody and their dog is
Mhm.
saying make sure to put
Yeah.
sunscreen on.
Yeah, of course.
Why,
Um,
Andrea, are you
well,
telling people not
I
to?
know. I know. I'm I'm really gonna get some correspondences for this probably, but, so, yeah, I am not a fan at all of the what sunscreen is in today's culture. It
Mm,
is this chemical soup that
mm,
we slather on our bodies, made up of like these chemical constituents that are carcinogens.
mhm,
Some of them are xenoestrogens, promoting breast cancer. In fact, here are some of the chemicals that are in sunscreen. In fact, this has made the news only tangentially so. I don't know why this isn't everywhere, but benzene, which is a known human carcinogen causing leukemia, has been found in lots and lots of different formulations of sunscreen. And so that's not anything that I would want to be slathering on my kid because the recommendation is you have to wear this. Don't you dare step outside without this sunscreen on. You
mhm.
should not let your skin touch sun, not for a second. This is the worst thing you can do. Yeah, which I reject wholly. So benzene, known human carcinogen, causes leukemia. Oxybenzone, avobenzone, octocrylene. So octocrylene is a really bad one. It breaks down over time to benzophenone, which is a suspected carcinogen. And this is the one that functions as a xenoestrogen. So it really hits those estrogen receptors for estrogen receptor positive breast cancer. Also, compounds like homosalate, octisalate, and octinoxate has been shown to bioaccumulate in humans. You guys, so these compounds, they build up over time, and this is one of the problems with these compounds is you keep putting them on. This is like the worst, most disastrous instructions that you could give a population is to, yeah, just keep putting it on. Just keep putting it on day after day after day because literally it bioaccumulates. So all of you out there who know about the bioaccumulation of mercury and you won't eat those big fish because of it. You watch your tuna consumption, you watch your fish consumption, your mackerel consumption, because you know that they are bioaccumulators of heavy metals like mercury. Well, guess what? You are also a bioaccumulator of all of these suspected carcinogens.
I
Um,
feel like this is a good a Princess Diary moment where it's like, "You keep saying this word, but I don't think you know what it means."
I don't think it means what you think it means. Oh my gosh, Princess Bride. I have not, yeah, that takes me back. Yeah, so essentially we are bioaccumulating like a tuna. We are just sucking up all these chemicals and yeah.
And
It,
remember, we had an episode where I think it was in one of our PCOS episodes, or yeah, not has no, so our hormone episode where we talked
mhm.
about the skin being super absorbed absorption,
Yeah. Yeah.
or a super absorber,
Absorbent.
basic.
Mhm.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so you're thinking about putting all those chemicals that literally I'm looking at the list and I can, if
Mhm.
I slowed down, I could pronounce all of them. But
Yeah.
you're putting those directly onto an area of your
Mhm.
body that is
Yeah.
literally absorbing it into your
Yeah.
system.
Yeah, into your body, and in fact, when we have a chemical like oxybenzone, which is very common, go grab a bottle of sunscreen and turn it around. I guarantee you will find these chemicals in there. But oxybenzone actually serves as a vehicle to enhance the absorption of other chemicals. So, if your sunscreen has oxybenzone in it, not only is it causing problems on its own, which we'll talk about more here in a second, but it's also enhancing the absorption of the other known and suspected carcinogens in the bunch. So, it's particularly bad. It also get this. So, oxybenzone forms free radicals when it's exposed to light. What? We're putting it on to go out to expose ourselves to light. So, yeah, forms free radicals. Now, if you know what a free radical is, it's an electron scavenger. So, free radicals go out and cause DNA damage. Um so what I'm sorry, what are we trying to keep the sun from doing? Damaging our DNA? Oh, okay. Well, let's put some oxybenzone on, which forms free radicals, which absolutely causes DNA damage. I don't know. It's so stupid. It's also neurotoxic. So that's brain. Yeah. Neurotoxic, reduces the sperm count in men and boys, linked to endometriosis in women, linked to lower birth weight in female babies, and more premature births in males. And as well, this is the one that is extremely detrimental to the integrity of coral reefs around the world and is toxic to various sea creatures. So when you're out there slathering this all over on the beach, you're not doing the sea life any favors either.
Mm.
It's just ridiculous.
So if that hasn't
Yeah,
convinced you,
right. I know.
um,
But wait, there's more.
I know. Well, keep going, and then I want to ask, for the person thinking, but I'm gonna get sunburned.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. We'll get there. We'll
Okay.
get there. Um, so yeah, so aerosols. This is something that when my kids were little, these aerosols had just come out.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw them everywhere because it's really hard to put sunscreen on a squirmy kid. Really hard, right? Especially boys. Like they cannot sit still. It's not within their constitutional nature. And so and it's like just like showering them with an aerosol spray is so much easier, right? But I don't know. I never, and I wasn't really in this functional space at that time, but it still just didn't seem quite right to me.
Mm.
To be aerosolizing all this stuff around young skin, young lungs. And I was
Mm.
primarily concerned about the propellant. Uh, but now we know that there's benzene in these. Okay, that's the known human carcinogen, leukemia. Um, Inhalation of benzene is more dangerous than even absorbing it through the skin. And so these aerosolized sunscreens contain benzene, and here you are, your kid is standing there breathing this cloud of benzene. And it is more dangerous than even slathering it on their skin in the form of like a lotion. So yeah, it's terrible. It's just terrible. And if you think that you are going to, you know, do your kid a favor and get the mineral aerosols, right? This is
Mm.
also
Yeah.
dangerous because I am a fan of mineral sunscreens. I'll tell you that right now, and we'll talk about it. But mineral aerosols are extremely dangerous. So it's the dosage form. So what
Mm.
happens? Mineral sunscreens are either zinc or titanium, um, and the particles that they have to create can be as small as 100 nanometers. All right. So think about this. These are metals, right? This is zinc and titanium. These are metals. And if those particles are created to be as small as 100 nanometers, think about this. A human hair is 80,000 nanometers wide. Okay. This titanium particle is as small as 100 nanometers wide. That's pretty teeny, right? So
Yep.
these particles, they reach parts of the lung that the body can't clear out. Okay. If these particles were bigger, like smoke, like ash, like this stuff that's in the sky right now because of all these horrendous forest fires, like those things, you can cough, you can expectorate, your body has a way of getting some of that particulate matter out, up and out. Okay. However, with particles this size, that particulate matter, once it's in those deepest part of the lungs, you can't get it out.
Hmm.
And if it reaches the bloodstream, the size alone makes them bioavailable to the body, right? This can cause massive cellular damage, damage to the immune system, to the nervous system, to the brain, to the heart. So you don't want these heavy metals in these teeny, teeny, tiny particle sizes having
Hmm.
access to you or your kids' bodies. It causes inflammation, adds to the overall chemical burden. They're terrible.
Wow. And I don't think, I mean, like you said, people are like, "Oh, I'm getting the mineral, so I'm obviously doing a
Right.
better job."
Mm-hmm.
I might look like a white ghost on the beach, but
Well,
uh,
okay, there's answers for that too.
yeah, I
But
know.
just
But
don't
like,
get the aerosol.
yeah,
Mhm.
but yeah, the aerosol is. I mean, you think it's super harmless, but it's literally not.
Right, right. Yeah,
What are we
so it
doing?
oh, I'm so sorry. I'm getting a cough drop. I have a little tickle. I didn't want to
Okay.
cough on everybody. You just like see me disappear. Bye-bye.
There she goes again.
It's all up to you. I'll see
So,
you in a minute.
you already said you're a fan of mineral sunscreen.
Yeah,
So,
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm back. I'm totally back. I'm just gonna sit still.
okay,
Mhm.
talking about boys can't sit still.
Oh, I know, it's ridiculous.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, it's a
I
hard
think the
time.
garden has made your ADHD worse.
Girl, it probably has. Yeah, it's super hard for me to focus.
Uh, okay.
Anyway.
Okay, so what is safe? Like what your
Uh-huh.
people are out here, well, I don't want to not go outside and put something on my skin. Like if you're
Yes.
telling me like I should get rid of my um copper tone,
Chemical-laden sunscreen,
yeah,
yes.
yeah, your chemical laden sunscreen, what should and can I use and what's not gonna break the bank?
Okay, yeah, so listen, every major, sunscreen company, like Coppertone, like Neutrogena, like like all of these companies, they will have a mineral option now because people are
Mhm.
starting to really ask for it,
Yep.
and I think there is a whole lot of liability in
Yeah.
making sunscreen with these cancer-causing agents in them, and I think they're
Well, I think
covering their
I've
butts.
noticed too they're even like I just did copper tone mineral sunscreen and
Mhm,
they're marketing it towards the kids, which I
mhm,
find interesting.
that's right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Because you don't want to be the purveyor of chemicals that are causing cancer in people's children.
Mhm.
That is just like the
So,
height
yeah.
and depth of wickedness. So anyway, get away from the chemicals, get onto the minerals. Again, avoid mineral aerosols at all costs. But the mineral sunscreens, what they do when it's in that cream or lotion form, it's still big, right? The particulate matter is big enough that it will just sit on the surface of the skin. It essentially works as a barrier method. And so it sits on the surface of the skin and it reflects the sun. Now, if you remember, if you're old enough, you remember the some of the lifeguards would put like zinc
Oh, yeah.
dioxide or
Mhm. Yep.
titanium dioxide on their noses, right? And they would
Mhm.
have, like, this huge white noses, and, some of the, kids with the hippie moms, they would, like, slather them up in this white stuff, and yeah, like you were talking about, it used to be really hideous looking sunscreen. But now
Mhm.
they're actually making it to where it just kinda melts in, and it's the same color as your skin, it doesn't leave this white residue. Now I will
Is it
say
because the concentration is different? Like, what are they my
it's
question when you're saying that is, like, what are they
yeah,
putting in it to make it not
it's
do that?
just I don't know, Ashley, it's just a different formulation, and it goes in really nicely. It still sits on the surface of the skin, but, you don't it's gotta be a different vehicle, there are different excipients that they put in there to get different qualities from creams and ointments, and compounding pharmacies deal with this all the time. Like, if there is something about a compound that customers don't like, then they can come up with all kinds of things to make the feel or the absorption or the look a whole lot better. And so they have done wonders with mineral sunscreen. It's come a long way. It still sits on the surface of the skin. It still reflects the sun. Um, but I also really like just protective clothing and
Yeah.
hats. I mean, my gosh, that's one of the easiest things that you can do is put on a stinking hat. That
Yeah.
protects your ears. They're cute. It protects your face. Um, if you're worried about the collection of sun damage, which I totally get, I really do, because sun will age you. It will
Yes.
absolutely age you. So you want to make sure that you are drinking all the water. You want to make sure that you are hydrating your skin if you live in the middle of the high desert like you and I both do, um, I think we have a little more humidity than you do, but
Mhm.
still we're
Yep.
considered high desert, and you have to put some lotion on. I mean, you have to hydrate your skin. You got to take care of your skin. Um, but yeah, protective clothing, hats, that will all work. Um, Now let me give you, um, I think this is an MLM company, so forgive me if that is anathema to some of you folks out there, but, um, I was at my small group, and I was complaining about the fact that I had my mineral sunscreen on. I had showered, and it was still on my arm. Like, it was
Mm.
still this, like, filmy kinda stuff on my arm, and I was complaining about it, and one of the gals said, "Oh, you should try this stuff that I have. I'll give you some." And she gave me a bottle of, oh my gosh, I think it started here in Idaho, actually. Melaleuca, that's what it is. Have you heard of that company?
How do you
Okay.
Luke?
It
Oh, here.
MELA Melaleuca is another word for tea tree,
Yeah.
but it's a company called Melaleuca, and I'm sure that there are others. This is just the one that I know about. So their mineral sunscreen, I'm able it rubs in, it's great, and then it washes off. So I've had
Yeah, it
really,
looks like
really
you
great
can
luck.
on their website, you can become a member. It
Oh,
almost
okay.
kinda looks like a Thrive, if
Mm,
honestly.
okay,
It doesn't look like a necessarily a MLM. It
okay,
doesn't look
yeah,
like you have to go under somebody from the
okay,
first glance at it. I don't know that, but
okay,
it
awesome.
kinda looks like
Well,
you can get a discount if you become a member.
okay, well, it's great stuff. I'm just throwing that out there. Um, but
Yeah, and
try
they
a
have
few of
multiple
these.
brands. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, try a few of these. They're at all kinds of different price points. Um, and maybe like oh gosh, I was using Dove soap in the shower, so that may not be the best soap to get this stuff off. You might need to use something a little more caustic, like, who knows. But
Dawn.
anyway, I know I'm not going in there with the Dawn into the shower. I just want the sunscreen off. So
That's funny.
anyway, but yeah, that's been kind of my experiment and experience with mineral sunscreens, but I'm very happy with them. And then I know that I'm not, dousing myself in chemicals. Now I do wear sunscreen sometimes. So I'm not a teetotaler. I'm not a never wear sunscreen kind of person. But I will say most of the time I do not. And I don't
Mhm.
get burned. Um, but I take care not to burn. I take care not to blister. Um, I take care not to be, just a bonehead out in the sun. So
Yeah.
if I think I'm gonna be out for long enough, then I will put some on. Um, but here's the deal. There are other things that you can do. I'm sorry for the crunching. I'm at the end of my cough drop. It's almost done. It's almost gone. Um, there are other things that you can do. Okay, first of all, there are foods that you can eat that make you more resistant to the sun. Okay? So, phytonutrients like brightly colored fruits and vegetables, all right? So, you eat a lot of brightly colored fruits and vegetables. We're in the summer. These things are growing like crazy in the gardens around you and maybe in your home garden. So, the more colors that you eat, the more resistant your skin is to sun damage. Okay? Also, you can take something like astaxanthin. This is another phytonutrient. This is like an internal sunscreen. It's crazy. You take 4 to 8 milligrams a day of this stuff, and this will help your skin to not sustain damage. And as well, it will help your eyes not to become damaged from the sun, also.
Wow.
So,
Do you just
astaxanthin,
get yours
amazing.
on, Amazon?
Probably.
Like a Now?
Look
Like
for,
a
yeah, look for now. I bet. Oh, who am I thinking of? Vital Nutrients would probably have an astaxanthin um, formulation as well. And Life Extension might have one too. I really like them.
Yeah.
But
Now I'll link some when I find 'em.
okay, yeah,
When
and
I,
make sure to take 4 to 8 milligrams a day.
okay.
Because
And
that's kind of the
that's is
sweet
that
spot.
year round or just in the summer?
I would just take it in the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Also, guys, avoiding seed oils and vegetable oils because I know your husband's gonna be very happy at that advice. Avoiding avoiding those will help to I don't know what's up with my throat, Ashley. Hang on.
It
Mm.
is fighting you
I
today.
I know it's crazy. I do think it's the smoke around here. It's
Oh,
nuts.
yeah.
Golly, we've got so
Thankfully, we've
much of
had
it.
such good rain the last week.
Oh, that's
Um,
awesome. We've had
so our
nothing.
smoke is gone, but the 2 weeks that we had it, it was horrendous.
Yeah, it's been like a month of smoke, and I just feel so terrible for those folks. There's people losing an awful lot of property up in the mountains. Okay, so
So, yeah,
avoiding seed
okay.
oils, avoiding vegetable oils, anything that will avoid a chronic inflammatory state will lower your burden of sun damage. Okay.
So, this isn't on the thing, but
Mm.
if you do have, like, say, autoimmunities, are you more prone to being sun sensitive?
I would say you are more prone to the DNA damage that
Okay.
occurs. So, could you,
Talk to us about that because I don't know if people
yeah.
understand that
Oh, okay.
the sun
Yeah.
because I don't think I fully understand.
Okay. Yeah, no, that is a really great question. And actually hang on just a second because I want to make a note here. I want to make sure that we get back to the peptide.
Oh, yes, yes,
Um,
yes.
yeah. Okay, so damage. Now, when you so let's talk DNA, all right? So the standard like double helix, right? So if you were to take a
Mhm.
ladder and then you kind of twist it, right? That's what a double helix looks like. And each one of those long ends of the ladder, and then you've got the short little steps in between. All right, so everywhere that there is a short little step is what's called a base pair. So you've got 4 base pairs that make up all of the human DNA, okay? Just 4 base pairs, and it's A, T, C, and G. That's it. Those are the 4 base pairs. That's all there is. The T stands for thymidine. Okay. Now, thymidine pairs with adenine. I'm going back a really long way, so I may be leaving out a syllable here or there, but thymidine, I believe, pairs with adenine. But anyway, what happens if you have thymidine that pairs with adenine across, forming the ladder, right? The step on the ladder. What sun does is it breaks that. And it
Oh, yeah.
actually makes thymidine pair with another thymidine. And this is called a thymidine dimer, and it forms a kink in the DNA. Okay. Now,
Oh.
stay with me, because here's where the damage occurs. Now, when that cell goes to replicate itself, it will unzip all of those bonds down the ladder of the DNA, and then little machines will come and latch on to the ladder, and then they'll go along and they'll replicate themselves. Okay. Now, the machinery comes to the kink and falls off, and it won't replicate. Okay. So this is problematic, and this is problematic for like causing cancers. This is problematic for causing skin damage that we see with like the premature aging. Okay. Now, what the inflammatory state does, there are repair mechanisms. So let's say you have these thymidine dimers in your DNA. So you've got these little kinks in there. Now, your body, we are created so brilliantly. We've got so many resiliencies built into our system. It's just crazy, the redundancy and the resiliency that we have. We actually have repair machinery. These are like road crews that like travel along the DNA, and they're like, oh, there's a kink here. So it breaks the thymidine dimer, it reattaches the thymidine to the adenine across the way, and then you're back in business, right? But if you're in a chronic inflamed state, your repair mechanisms will not, either won't be there, or they'll be so down-regulated that you will suffer a lot more of these thymidine dimers than will someone who's not in a chronically inflamed state. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That
Yeah,
makes total
so
sense.
so that's
So it's
kind
like
of
the
the
C team road crew.
That's right. That's right. So, yeah, you get the oh my gosh, is it Utah? Driving through Utah, man, the roads are terrible. So yeah, you
Oklahoma.
get the
Oh my
oh
gosh.
yes. So you get the Utah road crews, Oklahoma road crews there. So now another really exciting thing that I wanted to talk about was there are peptides that can also help to keep you from getting sun damage. And one of these is called the primary one dealing with this particular issue is called melanotan. So there's melanotan 1 and melanotan 2. Melanotan 2, kind of an interesting peptide. Apparently, it can make you a little randy, if you are familiar with that expression. Horny, Ashley. You're giving me the
Oh,
eyes.
okay.
It means horny. Um,
I was homeschooled.
I went to public school, so there you go. Anyway, oh, I'm embarrassed. I can't believe I just said that on the internets. Anyway, that's what that means. It increases libido. How about that?
Oh,
It
there we go.
increases libido.
That's more medical
Right.
terms.
It increases libido. Sometimes I've read to an astonishing degree. So in both men and women.
Take with caution.
Right. Yes, right. Yeah. So this this is maybe something for your Christmas stocking. I don't know. But yeah, that
Actually,
so
probably don't want that
melanotan
in the
2.
Christmas stocking.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not. But that's
Mhm.
melanotan 2. It will but both of these compounds will increase your melanin production.
Mm.
Okay. So it will cause you to tan
Ooh.
and to not get skin damage. So anyway, kind of interesting. They're pretty hard to come by, but
Yeah, so I mean,
yeah,
you're getting more and more into the world of peptides, but,
Mhm.
um,
Mhm.
you can't just go, like, to Amazon and grab this, right?
No, 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 no,
Okay.
no, no, there are some there are some tips and tricks to, procuring peptides,
It's
as it
like its
were.
own little drug world.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's really exciting, though, what these little guys can do. So, anyway, that's another possibility is, to
S
keep the skin damage at bay is to, use something like that.
so, like our fellow, redheads that basically their skin hates the sun.
Okay. Okay, so here's where we get into something called the Fitzpatrick type, and actually I'm going to get into this more in part 2 of this message, but your Fitzpatrick type determines how well you tan, and some people don't tan at all. So
Yeah,
you want to be careful. So again, if you're using melanotan 2, I have heard that in folks who are the lighter skin Fitzpatrick types, that it can make your moles get really dark, but not necessarily the rest of you. And so you probably kinda look like a Dalmatian, at the end of that, and that's not a look that anyone's going for. So you do have to be careful and know what you're doing.
uh,
Um, but yeah, the melanin is kind of a double-edged sword. Um, some people get really, really great results from it and really stave off the skin damage, but some people get that real darkening.
okay.
But yeah, if you don't tan at all, like if you're super fair, redheaded, um, interestingly, like I have green eyes, like mine are green eyes. And I'm supposed to be the lowest Fitzpatrick type, but my hair is darker than most green-eyed people. So, yeah, I Fitzpatrick typing isn't perfect, because I tan, but
Yeah,
green-eyed people aren't supposed to be able to tan. So,
yeah. Well,
yeah.
I'm hazel and I tan.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, it's not perfect, but it's just a tool to kinda tell you, kinda guide your sun exposure.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
And another one that, I keep seeing, and shout out to my mother-in-law.
Ah,
She is going to hopefully start making it, so I'll have my own dealer here soon.
oh, awesome.
But, tallow. So tallow has
Yeah.
become all the rage, well, in my
Mhm.
world. Um,
Mhm.
well, I mean, those crunchy mamas, those more holistic people, I think it's probably a regular ingredient in their day to
Oh,
day.
yeah.
But tallow is full of great vitamins that
Mhm.
are basically a natural sun protector.
Yeah.
And people are creating like some tallow sunscreens. So they're adding in the minerals
Mhm.
and um, like the zinc oxide to create like a zinc mineral tallow sunscreen. So that's one
Yeah,
that
that's cool.
I've been using, tallow since December actually on my face. I use it
Mm.
morning and night.
Mhm.
I love my skin complexion. I've never had skin
Mhm.
issues really, but I just feel like my skin is staying a perfect amount of moisturize.
Mm.
And a lot of people are freaked out because it's a fat that you're putting on your skin. And you can kind of talk about you said it earlier, but that's super scientific for me. But it doesn't make you break out
Right. Right.
we were talking like earlier, the coconut oil. If people
Mhm.
ever put it on their face, they might be like, "Oh my gosh, that made me break out so bad,"
Mhm.
or it dried you out so bad. I had that back in the day when coconut oil was becoming all the rage. I was like, "I'm putting all this coconut oil on. Why do I feel like I'm
Yeah.
literally drying out?" Like,
Yeah,
my skin was
exactly.
so bad.
Mhm. Yeah, no, and the tallow thing, so I actually made tallow. When would this have been? Um, it was probably before I met you. I made a bunch of tallow, um, like tallow balm, right?
Oh, yeah? Mhm.
Um, and and it's great. I couldn't get it to the place where it didn't have that, like, little bit of tallow smell.
Oh,
You could put lavender in it. You could put peppermint in it, which can kind of get out the beefy smell. I probably didn't render it perfectly, and probably
it
would have
is a
gotten better with,
process.
yeah. Yeah, and even so, it took me forever. Crock pot, and it was on there
Mhm.
for many, many, many hours.
Yeah.
But yeah, tallow is great. But again, your dog will follow you around licking you incessantly when you got tallow on. It's probably better on your face than the rest of you. Um, but yeah, tallow is
Well,
fantastic. It's
yeah.
got a lot of vitamins in it. It's okay, so this is the reason, you guys, why grass-fed, and you want tallow from grass-fed animals. Like, that's
Yes.
where you want it from.
Mhm.
And that's the reason why we recommend that you eat the fat from grass-fed animals, because the fat is where the vitamins are, right?
Yep.
Like these fat-soluble vitamins, they're hanging out in the fat.
Mhm. It's
So
like eat
that's
your
what you
egg
want.
yolks.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, yeah, the tallow is really, really great for your skin. It's non-comedogenic, which means it doesn't cause your body to overproduce oils in
Mm,
response to it, and it doesn't plug up your pores. Okay?
yeah.
So yeah, it's a perfect blend of fats, right? Like, we're mammalian, cows and pigs are mammalian, and so their fat is a perfect match for our skin, right? Because it's all mammal stuff. And so yeah, you rub it on your skin, and it of course it absorbs in completely.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
highly recommend if
Mhm.
you wanna give that, especially for your face. Like, maybe
Yeah.
you're not giving it doing a tallow for your whole body if you're going outside, but
Yeah.
I definitely have loved it for my face.
Mhm. Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
Well, this was very insightful.
Good. I'm
Yes.
so glad.
And if you're still, like, just shocked that we're not huge sunscreen proponents in the realm of what you can typically grab or what we're used to grabbing, I guess,
Mhm.
from the shelves, um, go back and listen.
That's right.
And then
Listen
maybe
again.
you you'll understand why. But yeah, definitely look for those mineral sunscreens. I'll link some that would
Nice.
be some good options for you, and that
Mhm.
like Andrea said, these big name companies are coming out with a bunch of mineral
Mhm.
sunscreens because people are waking up to what is in their products,
Right.
and we
Right.
don't want that in our bodies, literally.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I think I don't know if we'll get into this in the next episode, but say you've grown up putting on copper tone or whatever,
Mhm.
and you're like, "Oh my gosh, I have 20, 30 years of putting this nasty chemical on my skin. Anything that I can do to help mitigate some of those?"
The body is and I don't like the word detox. I
No,
know
I
I've
don't
said this
either.
before.
Yeah.
It just sounds so woo-woo, but what people mean by detox is they literally mean in the I in the pharmacology sense of the word, they really mean metabolism, right?
Mhm.
And I'm talking like clinical metabolism, not metabolism like how many calories do you burn in a day, not
Right.
that kind of metabolism, but
Yeah.
this is
Breaking down a
metabolism.
substance.
Yes, yes, exactly. So the body is very attuned to be a metabolic machine. And so all of those chemicals that you have used over the course of time, those should be metabolized through your liver, through the kidneys, but primarily through the liver. Um, and yeah, they should be moving and working their way out. Now, sometimes you will get things that are sequestered in fat. And then if you have, this is kind of getting into the weeds, but if you have like a pretty significant fat loss, sometimes people can get really pretty significant symptoms because as they lose fat, they release some of these sequestered chemicals into their bodies.
Mm.
And then they become symptomatic. And so getting rid of that kind of stuff really is the realm of the functional practitioner. So I would say, if that's a concern for you, if you've got nagging symptoms that won't go away, as always, go find a functional provider that can help you with that, because there are things that we can do.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Perfect. And as always, choosing higher quality sources of our food,
Yeah.
exercising,
Lots of water.
sweating,
Yes,
lots
sweating.
of
Infrared
water.
sauna is
Yeah,
great.
all those
Mhm.
things are super helpful. So,
Yeah.
well, Andrew, we're going to continue this episode into another one.
Mhm.
And we're going to talk about why the sun isn't trying to kill us. So I'm excited.
Yes.
I'm excited to dive into that
Why
one.
not?
But as
Yeah.
always, we so appreciate you guys listening. And
Mhm.
if you have questions, comments, suggestions, we would love to hear from you as we enter our second year of
Crazy.
podcasting. We definitely want to make sure that we're providing episodes that you are interested in. And,
Mhm.
we can go to the back systems and see which episodes are the most played, and we can dive into that analytics. But honestly, we just love to hear from you
Mhm.
because that's means much more than just some um, computer system that's
Yeah.
analyzing data. So definitely reach out to us. And as always, our contact information is in the show notes, and I will link all the things that we talked about today in the show notes. So check those out. But for now, we will catch you on the next episode.
Bye. The content provided in the AA podcast is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The podcast is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. The information and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of the individuals involved and do not constitute medical advice.